Please welcome Prajakta Jagdale, Senior Director, Offensive Security and Incident Command.
All right, I am who the voice of God said. I also go by PJ. They said, talk about the lessons you have learned in your career. I said, easy. Then it hit me, 20 years of career, 8 minutes talking time. How am I supposed to do that? I did what any wise person will do in this day and age. I went to ChatGPT. I spent an entire weekend in intense consultation with it, and the conclusion was this. Every token is foretokened. 20 years ago, I was where many of you are. I was anxious. I was apprehensive to start my journey. I started as an intern. Today, I'm a senior leader at an industry-leading company. Was that journey, was that path planned? Was it meant to be? I decided to investigate that. I decided to investigate the hypothesis that life is but an LLM. What do we know about LLMs? They are freakishly good at predicting the next token. Across the data set that they're trained on, they're auto-regressive, so every token they predict is probabilistically determined or dependent on the tokens that came before it. Dare I say it sounds a lot like life? In life, every decision, every achievement, every relationship, every choice is a token. And so would we be wrong in assuming that each life token foretokens the future sequence? I had to experiment. I chose to tokenize my professional life. The plan was I was going to build a custom tokenizer. I was going to fine-tune a model. I was going to prompt this model across a time space and say, have it show me that my past life tokens were predicting my future life tokens, until I realized that you cannot retroactively replace the tokenizer in a fine-tune, in a pre-trained model. You would have to train that model from scratch. I didn't have that kind of a time. So I said, I'm going to build a coordinated set of agents that was going to do world building based on the tokenized narrative I was going to give it. Then Michelle emailed saying slides are due next week. I said, OK, well, I'm going to build a set of agents that's going to tokenize my life, put it in a CSV, and then I'm going to simulate over that CSV. And I had to use lots and lots of AI for this because I had a lot of documents with the information that I needed. I used Warp AI Terminal to process, to slice and dice these documents. I used Cursor AI as my coding assistant to help build this agentic system using LangGraph and Crew AI as the agentic frameworks. The crew of agents built using these frameworks were talking to the Gemini Pro LLM via Vertex AI. And the tasks for these agents were to take a slice of information, consult with an LLM, and characterize that information into a set of tokens. And the collection of these tokens became the vocabulary of my professional life. To visually simulate across these vocabulary, I went to Napkin AI. I said, here's what I'm attempting to do. Give me some visuals. It gave me some static visuals. I fed them to Cursor AI. Said, make this dynamic based on the token CSV that I'm going to provide. And all this led to basically me being able to inspect and show you my life in the context of my token vocabulary. Because what makes LLMs great is, amongst other things, the massive size of their vocabulary and how well they refine that vocabulary. Here's what it looked like. Hopefully this video will play. Across my lifetime, and I decided to go extend the period because the first token that it identified for me was a career milestone called birth. And hopefully, I wasn't paying attention to the visual, but hopefully it showed you how exponentially the token vocabulary expanded as my career progressed. But to get a better feel for it, let's zoom into maybe a smaller slice of my life, which is basically my WiCyS journey. And it didn't start until much later in my life, around probably 2017, 2018, when in 2018, I think I became the board member for WiCyS. And that one singular event, that one singular token, led to an exponential growth in my vocabulary even further. Why do we care about the size of our vocabulary? Because we want to maximize the probability space so that you have more choices for your future paths when the time comes. Life is going to throw twists and turns at you, and when you encounter them, you want to have a diverse vocabulary so you can adjust and pivot your paths. And it's going to be unique to you. Because what I realized when I was inspecting this was how my preferences for token classes evolved over the course of my life and of my career. Is this playing? OK. When I started my career, I was investing more in the token classes related to technical skills development, projects that I was completing, in like preliminary career milestones that I was hitting. But as I matured, as my career matured, what I saw was that the size of my relationships class kept growing exponentially, much faster than the rest of them. The class that contained the people, my community, my ally network. But this is unique to me. It doesn't mean that I stop investing in the rest of the token classes. Most, except for ChatGPT, most of the AI technology I hadn't touched until 2 weeks ago. And you bet all of this is going into my token vocabulary from here on. So it's unique to you, and it matters because the future is not dependent on one singular token, one singular moment. It is about the collective vocabulary. Now, we started with the notion that there is interdependence between these tokens, that my current tokens were somehow dependent on the previous tokens. So to further investigate that, I charted my career trajectory in terms of career milestones against the different token classes. And what you will clearly see is as my token classes expand, the density of my career milestones keeps going up and up and up and up. And if I were to go back and manipulate, like mess up with my vocabulary, let's say by maybe removing all of the people tokens from my vocabulary, not only does that impact the other classes of the vocabulary, but it also diminishes my career experience. Take my biggest token class, relationship. What if I just removed it? It demolishes my career trajectory. So yes, each token is foretokened, but just not in a deterministic fashion. You may not have control over singular tokens. You do have control over your vocabulary, and so you do have control your narrative. So keep learning, keep taking risks, and keep adding meaningful tokens to your vocabulary. That's how you're going to succeed. I do have probably a minute or so, 30 seconds. OK. Well, given that I was just exploring in the dark, I did take some time to document a little bit of my journey. If you go to that Notion site, you will kind of see some random notes that I've taken, prompts that I gave ChatGPT. How did I even come up with token? Every token is foretokened theme. So feel free to take a look at it. If you want, if you're interested in looking at the code, let me know. I'll have to massage it, and I can put it on GitHub. It's not proprietary. And I'll be at the Palo Alto Networks booth. So come say hi. Thank you all. Have a good one.